Hello. Yeah, I actually took some time to sit and reflect, really put it all together on the map here. Helped me a little bit. But I took some time, this actually was yesterday, to reflect on everything that's happened in my life, big events in the past 3 years. And I'll start out with number one. I've got 9 of them on here. Number one actually is what spurred all this. I went out to my track. It's behind this village's high school. It's very secluded, surrounded by trees, very peaceful place. When I'm out there, I'm all by myself. And I exercise, run, work out, pray, talk to God. It's almost like a physical, spiritual thing for me. Like it is for a lot of people that do this stuff, but it's out in nature, and it's all tore up. I went out there, and it's just all heavy equipment, and everything's tore up. They're rebuilding it. They're looks like they're putting a lot of work into rebuilding it, bigger, better. But that bothered me because I've been going there for 25 years since I've been in this little village. This village is so small. It doesn't have a bar, it doesn't have a restaurant, it doesn't have a diner, it doesn't have a bakery. Very small village here. I think population's around 2,000 for the whole town, not just, that's counting outside of the village. And so then I left there, and that brings me to number 2. And I saw my brother's house abandoned. His car still sitting there, abandoned. And he's no longer there. And it's sad. He didn't do anything bad. There's nothing bad or negative. I don't tell everything that goes on YouTube. But I will say there's nothing shameful or any bad delinquencies, anything like that here. But he's not there anymore. And his car and his house sit there abandoned. And this is all within a few years. That was my last member of my family in this town, really. Well, my mother. And that brings me to number 3, which would be, I drove by my mother's house every day. It's not my mother's house anymore. And I see that the people that live there now are gutting it out and putting a lot of work into it. And I always prayed for my mom and dad every time I drove by there. And I find myself starting to do that still. And I realized, no, they're gone. They died. My dad went years ago. My mom went about 3 years ago at this point. Time goes by. So that's number 3. Oh, I'm going to lose count here. And then I was out getting some, actually, rocks and some sand to do some work on my driveway. And I went by my dog's grave. He died 11 months ago, and I buried him. And I was very close to my dog. He was my buddy. He was all I had left here. He died 11 months ago at this time, and I visited his grave. And that was sad. Oh, and then I guess number 5. Leaving that place, I drove by this old house with quite a history. Not much to look at. But that used to be my mother's house. And then it became my house. And I made a mistake in trusting the wrong people. And I wound up losing the house. And it was because I blindly trusted somebody I thought I could trust, that I should have been able to trust, but I couldn't. And I shouldn't go into details on here. Does it really matter? But I'll say there was nothing negative here. It's not like I lost the house because it was foreclosed on or delinquent on taxes. Nothing like that at all. I never really cared for this house, honestly. I've got ghost stories from it, of course, and other people do too. It's quite a history to it, actually, but that's beside the point. that house sold this year to some people. I don't know who they are. They bought it. Doesn't look like they're taking very good care of it, for whatever it's worth. So I saw that leaving my dog's grave, number 4. And that sold this year. And the people that swindled me out of the house years ago told me that when they sold it, they would give me half the profits. Of course, I brought that up to them earlier this past year. And you know what? They told me to get over it. There was nothing I could do legally about it. Everything I had with them was based on trust, like a handshake contract. And I made a big mistake. And they know it. There's nothing I can do about it legally. They said get over it. They don't even live around here. They moved long ago. And the house sold this year. So that's kind of sour grapes, but nothing too big. It's just an old house. Just the principle of it all. So I guess that was number 5. That sold this year. I didn't get a cent. Number 6 is a big one, of course. Jen and her mother died. And that I'm still dealing with that every day. That really took a pretty big piece out of me. And number 7, right after that was a year ago, a little over a year ago. And number 7, right after they died, her grandfather died, and I was friends with him. He liked me. We got along pretty good. But he's not living there, and there's new people living in Jen and her mother's house. They're all gone. Strangers live in their house, and strangers live in her grandfather's house. Number 7, he was found. I swear, people can die of a broken heart because he lost his daughter, he lost his granddaughter, and they were very, very close. And they found him in his house on the floor, dead of a massive heart attack, I'm told, just 2 weeks after Jen died. And that's really hard. It's hard on me. So that's number 7. Number 8, I can't say a whole lot about this, but I had some friends that my gut instinct told me long ago, do not associate with these people. They're bad news, they're trouble. But, I didn't listen to that, and hung out with these people, and it came to my knowledge, and I give God credit for that, because I suspected they were doing some bad things, and I prayed to God for wisdom on it, and He granted me that wisdom, and I uncovered a pretty ugly picture that these 2 people were doing some pretty underhanded, bad things to me in my life. Mean, dishonest, mind-boggling, bad things. And I called them out on it. They denied it. I showed them the evidence. They couldn't deny it. And that's just the way it is. It's hard. Some of the things they did hurt not just me, but other people that I care about. And, I've wrestled with it. I forgive them. I love them through Christ. And I really believe that possibly in some weird way, what they did was all part of God's plan. So I guess was that number 7? That's number 8. But I don't associate with them anymore. It just brings back too many painful memories. So that's gone. Number 8. Number 9. I actually was going to include this, but it actually happened more than 3 years ago. But I drive by there a lot. And that's where Jen and I used to live, and that place is gone. And it's sad. We lived there together for a while. And I found the man dead. Found a friend. I call him a friend of mine. I found him dead on my property at night. I think he died of a heart attack. But I'm the one that found him, and I almost fell over his body out in the dark, pitch black night. And that place was haunted badly. That's number 9. Number 10, there's no number 10. But a lot of hauntings and things like that, for me, it's unsettling. And there's been other people that have died that I've known, but I'm not going to put them on here. But all these things within 3 years, except number 9, that actually happened a little more than 3 years. So the first 8 things, the track being tore up, which that was kind of a spiritual place to me. But it occurred to me making this video. See, making these videos are therapeutic to me. And I like to give glory to God. It occurred to me, number 1, the track being tore up, which was a place in nature, earth and sky and trees, and I go out there and exercise and pray to God and talk to God. It's all tore up. It's being rebuilt. That occurred to me, being number 1. That's like my life here. The other 8 things that I'm listing out here. My life has been tore up like that track. And God's rebuilding it for whatever his plan and purpose is. We'll see. Number 2, my brother's gone. And that was the last family member around here I had. He's gone. His house stands empty, abandoned. Number 3, my parents' home. I see it every day. It's a reminder. The years I spent in there on the holidays and every day that I could, visiting with my mom and dad. My dad went first and my mom went actually 3 years ago. Seems like less, but it's been 3 years. And then I lost my dog, number 4. I'm recapping. Saw his grave yesterday as well. Number 5, that house, that old house. It's just an old house. But really, it was a huge breach of trust. A huge one. And it's kind of painful to see that house. It reminds me of that breach of trust. Number 6, losing Jen and her mom. And that house that used to have so many family get-togethers and a lot of memories there that all gone within a year. Different people there. Number 7, the grandfather went 2 weeks after Jen died and somebody else is living in that house now. He's gone. I forgot. Number 8, I lost count. Number 8, my friend betrayed me badly. I've wrestled with that. I have a problem when trust is broken to the point where relationships are broken. When you get a breach of trust that's big enough to end relationships, that's a pretty big deal to me. So that's number 8. And I've never been done so badly by people in my life. I've never got any apologies either. That's how it goes. And number 9, that really actually happened a little more than 3 years ago. But that was rough. I drive by there occasionally. It was quite shocking to find this man that I liked very much. We were friends. To find him dead in my lawn, the way I did. And that lawn that was where he was at, I told him the place was haunted badly, and he just laughed at me. But there are spirits in there. And there are other people. Some of them are spirits now themselves that would have said, yes, there are. You stay out of that area, the woods. And that's where he was. And I found him. That was rough. And the trailer that I had memories with, that's gone within 3 years. And I forgot to mention one other thing I didn't even put on the map. Probably number 10, but it doesn't sound like much. But the bar in this town, Betty Blue, it's been here since the 1930s. The one bar. And that's where I met Jen. And no, we weren't sitting there. She wasn't a regular there. She didn't go there very much at all. And I didn't go there very much, every once in a while. But she wasn't a bar fly. But I did meet her there. And we used to play horseshoes there. And we danced there. And we played pool. And, we meet friends there. It was the only place in town. You get together there and you'd throw horseshoes. We played on a horseshoe league. Those were good memories. And they had darts teams and pool leagues. And they had family get-togethers there and community get-togethers there, and there was good food there, and they'd have bands, and you could dance. It was more than just a bar, and that place sold. It's now a food pantry that I think it's open once a week. That's all within 3 years. And it's kind of sad to see that gone. It wasn't like a den of iniquity or anything. Really, it wasn't. You know, some bars are. This place wasn't. It was really kind of a community thing there. That's gone. So that's number 10. I had the Betty Blue. That's gone. And I had a lot of memories there. Some of them good. Meeting her. And we went outside, her and I, and talked when I met her. And I said, oh my God, it was just magic. And she felt it too. Like Cupid hit us both with an arrow. It was bizarre. But I tell you, I was told 2 days before that, I swear, not many times in my life, I'll tell you that I heard God speak, and that was one of them. And I was lonely, and I was praying to God, and I swear I heard him. He said, I've got someone very special for you. And he said some other things. But he said, I've got someone very special for you. And he said some things that indicated he was involved in my life. But I don't want to say a whole lot because they involve other people and I don't want to offend anybody. They're still around. But he told me he had someone very special for me. And I wasn't looking, really. And I met her there at the Betty Blue 2 days later. And bang, it's like we felt like we knew each other, like you. You know, it was magical. That's gone. So all the doors in this town, to me, seemed to have closed. Very lonely place. I've went through all these things in 3 years by myself. Oh, I forgot to add one. And I'm going to add it because this happened within the past 3 years. 2 of my children, 2 of them, officially just disowned me. They don't live anywhere near here, and they haven't lived around here. They don't. But I went through my mother's death, their grandmother. Where were they? I got a text message. You know, Jen died. They knew how close I was to her. Where were they? They didn't even give me a phone call. I got a text message. And, oh God. You'd think I live in a big city. I don't, but I live right next to Main Street, so you hear all the traffic. They disowned me completely, and I got upset about that. And I said, you know, sometimes families need to pull together. I said, I'm going through a hard time here. I lost my mother, lost Jen. All these things I just mentioned. 10 things, 11 things, counting this, counting them, 11. I said, this is when family needs to pull together. I really could use a visit. They didn't want to be bothered. These 2, my son Kyle, he's never done me wrong. He's faithful. Him and my grandson Liam, faithful, but they live far away. And they have farm animals. They can't leave. He works hard. And when you have farm animals, you're stuck. Those things have to be cared for daily. Everything needs to be taken care of. When you got animals, you know, you're there. So I drive up to see them once in a while. So it's not a complete bust. But my other 2, yeah, they officially cursed and disowned me. That was painful. They got tired of being bothered when I told them that they needed to come see me and told them what I thought of them for not even seeing me when my mother died, that I thought that was low, that they wouldn't even give me a phone call, let alone visit. They got mad at me. They didn't like being put on the spot. And they just officially disowned me. They don't talk to me. They disowned me completely. My children, 2 of them. 2 of them. And that's quite painful. They hurt me pretty bad. And it's not the first time they've treated me this way. And I can tell you, as God is my witness, I've never neglected nor abused them in any way. Not at all. There's no skeletons in my closet. I was a good father. And God is my witness on that. And they'll have to answer to God for their behavior. But that hurt quite a bit too. All this within 3 years. By myself here. And I realize why I'm kind of emotionally still trying to find my footing. And why I've gone to France a couple times really did help me to get away from here for a while. And then finally I'll wrap this up. And I'm not griping. All right, it's going to be a long wrap up. I'm not complaining. I am in a way bemoaning all this. But I know God has a plan in my life. Somebody's thinking of me. Hold on a second. I got to turn that off. I know God has a plan in my life. A friend of France just texted me of something funny. Sorry. In my life, it occurred to me today that my life is like that track that I spent a lot of time at for the past 25 years out there by myself. And I've even got the ghost story from out there, the Sandbox Girl. So there's an old cemetery next to it. Really, really old, colonial. But, you know, that place meant a lot to me. It was a place to pray, and exercise is good for the body and soul too. And that's all tore up. And my life is like that track, all tore up, but it's being rebuilt. And it occurred to me today that yesterday when I thought about putting this together, that number one actually was the track. That's what spurred me to think of this. It just occurred to me just in the past hour. Your life is like that track. God has done these things. I think it's all been part of his plan. So I thank God for all this. And the people that I lost, and even the people that betrayed me, I believe they're in God's care. The people I lost, I believe, will meet again, to include my dog. And the people that betrayed me, I love them. I can't be around them. That's over. That relationship is over on both ends. It's just too painful to be around them. It brings back too many painful things. I still pray to God about that. But, you know, they might have been working in God's plan too. And I give them to the Lord. And I need to, you know, I wrestle with it. Sometimes I still get upset. But I do thank God. I do believe he has a plan. And he has taken care of me. In the past 3 years, for the first time in my adult life, I finally got the state of New York out from under me. And I'm able to actually make a living and even save some money. First time in my life. But God's looking after me. So, I guess that's it. Life could change very suddenly. Hang on to the cross. Hang on to the robe. The Lord has been more than sufficient to get me through it. I've had a couple of people I know suggest that I get some help. Like counseling. No, I don't need any counselors. I think that people need to seek help, medical help even. If their depression, if their issues cause them, if they start thinking of harming themselves or harming somebody else, yes, get help. I haven't come to that. I've never thought of harming myself or anybody else at all. You know, I'm still thankful to God for life and all that. And I trust God and I trust his plan. And that's what I said. No, I don't need any help. I'm all right. You know, you go through hard times and God uses these. You come out on the other end stronger. better, hopefully. So that's it. I wanted to lay this out. I've been kind of shaken up. I posted some things on YouTube. This has helped me out, YouTube, actually. And it might have helped some other people out, too. I don't know. I posted those books, my book, chapters that I kind of regret it because some of it's really kind of out there. But I wrote that book before I even had a YouTube channel. And my son, Kyle, likes the book a lot. And he wanted me to do this. He was excited that I'm reading this on YouTube. So if the book is really too wild for you, I understand, or offensive, I understand. All right, so that's all. I've got some other things to do, and I got some time on my hands yet. I'm still on. I'm not unemployed. I'm not working. I'm retired, but hope to go back to work in a month. Put some money together again, possibly to go back to France. All right. God bless each one of you. Take care.